All right, we're here. We're here a little early. What's up, Mr. Jake Chapman?
Yep.
Bro, I loved your show the other day. It was so awesome. Thank you for the shout out. I appreciate you immensely.
Yeah, you did great.
Kenneth, what's up?
Bryson's on time. We appreciate that.
Yeah, we love
Not
Bryson.
many people are on time.
Bryson's amazing. If you guys haven't seen it, please go watch the barbell spin from last night. It's like the first, I feel like it's in the first 10 minutes. And John starts talking about fucking the remix to Ignition. Like as a song that everybody fucking knows and everybody like loves or whatever. And like, yeah, I remember it. I was in the club. You know what I mean? Like it came out, I was in the club. But it's amazing how he describes it. And then he shows you a little bit of how he dances to it. And it was it was like the Dougie.
Oh, jeez.
He did the Dougie. Like, it's so good.
Wait, can I find it? Let me see. I might be.
I don't think Spin will ding us.
I don't think Spin will mind.
Yeah, but it is the most fantastic thing I have seen in a long time. It was so good. And then at the end, it's like the first 10 minutes and then the last 10 minutes of the Spin episode, they were like, if you were going to have a halftime show, who would you rank? And Spin was fabulous. One of the shows that he offered was Bad Bunny. And Tyler and John are like, I don't know who that is. Number 5. I was like, you're getting rid of everybody that's like 30 and under, because everybody 30 and under knows who Bad Bunny is. So it was.
Well, I don't know who Bad Bunny is. I thought I didn't know that. I thought maybe that was like a group or something. But it sounds like it's a person.
Oh God.
But I'm not very up to date on like modern music, I would say.
Yeah, no. I'm not either. Everybody's into YouTube. I think I would only know who Bad Bunny actually is because I watch YouTube, like shows on YouTube. But no, it was freaking amazing. The last 10 minutes and the first 10. Natalie, yeah, that was a special episode. That was a special episode. You're right.
That's a good blind rankings topic.
It was great.
Yeah.
They had Taylor Swift.
Oh, where did they end up putting that one?
1.
Did they get trapped in 1, or did they actually put it there?
No, they got trapped at 1, but yeah. John defended it. And that was awesome too, because
I can't find it without turning it on.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's great. Please go watch the Spin episode last night. It was so much fun.
Well, speaking of John's music choice, he posted a video of him lifting today. And I don't want to get too worked up, so I'm not even going to get into the fact that it wasn't a rep, but the Harlem Shake is playing in the background. And Maris pointed that out. She commented, she's like, why are you listening to the Harlem Shake while you work out? And he responded with some emoji or something, but I just thought that was crazy.
Let her go back and watch the first 10 minutes of the Spin last night and tell me if he doesn't do the Dougie.
I want to see it. Yeah,
he moves to the Dougie when he Maris. I want to know. There you are. Where are you? There you go. Please go back and watch. I can't pull it up, but please go back and watch and see if he does. Kenneth, is Bad Bunny a wrestler? Yeah, none of us are gonna know Bad Bunny. I only know it because I've watched a million YouTube videos, but. Hey Dance, what's up? Vindicate. Hey, if you haven't gone to get your Vindicate, go get your Vindicate.
Yep.
And then Heat 1 app, because it's going to be Tyler versus John. So please go support. And I can't wait for that
on Heat 1 too.
I don't know if they're having it on Heat 1, but I know they're trying to do their little competition thing, which will be fun.
They should. They would get a lot of traction for Heat 1. A lot of people would bet on that.
Yeah, I mean that goes to show, like, I mean, not to get, this is a topic that could take forever, but that goes to show people would care more about betting on John and Tyler just because we feel like we know them than fucking like whoever ends up winning the games this year. who we never hear of, who's been doing CrossFit, since they were out of the womb and never really known anything else in their life, have no personality. Not saying that you can't have done CrossFit from a young age and not have a personality, but like there's just not guys like Rich anymore who are just cool and people like to follow because they're cool and not because they're really fit.
Well, I think it's really cool because the community that, like, I know we talk about this a lot, but the community that like Sevan has created with you guys and Spin and whatever, like we're all big fans of the group. So if two people from the group are like gonna go match up, and I think that that's why, Taylor versus the World was so successful, because people love watching Taylor, just the personality, but also Taylor compete and throw down with, some of the best in the sport.
Yeah.
And so big fans like us that, maybe kind of have lost the like love for the sport because of all the changes, like almost brings us back to the sport. Would you kind of say that you kind of feel that that's something that's going on, especially with like Taylor and what he does?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think there's a lot of, to me, I like the changes every year. Like people are always like, oh, the season changes every year. How are we supposed to follow this? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, just go read Spin's article and you're good. You have the season, even if you don't have 100% grasp on the order of each semifinal and all this stuff and exactly how many spots are coming from online versus in, all that stuff doesn't matter. Like the fittest people are going to make it, and some people probably won't. There's going to be tight competitions no matter what the format is. So I like the format changing every year. I think it's cool. And I don't think that deters anyone from watching. I think what deters people from watching is the athletes getting too, I don't want to say guarded, maybe isn't the right word, but like they think what they're doing is so different than what everyone else is doing that they can't talk about it. And, it becomes a job to them. And it's like, athletes are like, oh, I train a little bit differently. And it's like, you just do intervals, bro. That's all. That's what you do. Like, it's not that different. So I don't know. I think, it just is the old school kind of athlete personality is what the game season is missing. It's not interesting to follow people you don't know.
Yeah, I don't dislike the change in the seasons at all. I think that it's kind of fun to see it. I like that it keeps everybody on their toes. I do agree that the more you know the people, the more that you're invested in the people. And I think we were very invested when it was Rich and that whole
Josh and Annie and Sam Briggs.
You were super in love with all of them, and there was behind the scenes, so you got to know all of them. And I kind of wonder, as much coverage as there is, as much YouTube, and as much as these athletes are putting themselves on Instagram and YouTube, why are we not liking them as much? Like, is it the brand deals? Is it the?
I think it seems nothing is genuine anymore. Everything feels like it's scripted. I mean, even the people who had brand deal, there was a lot fewer people who had brand deals and sponsors back in the day. But even the people who did, like, there's a clip in behind the scenes, Sevan like walks up to Josh and he's asking him about his sunglasses or something like that. And Josh is a Nike athlete, and he just looks at Sevan. He's like, dude, I'm just here to fucking drink Hillcliff, wear Nike shoes, and work out. And I saw that when I was younger, and I was like, holy fuck, I love this guy. I want to be this guy when I grow up. And even though, he has a Nike deal, of course he's supposed to say that. He can't say he wants to wear Reeboks, but it's still Josh. When every tier athlete is like, I don't even know what their motto is, like never back down or something like that. I don't even know what it is, but every post is the same post. It's like, you don't even know the difference between a Jeff Adler post and a Pat Vellner post.
I thought it was crazy because we were all invested in Sprague, right? We all want to see what Sprague's going to do. We love when he won Wadapalooza, we were all like, yes, let's go. But we don't give a crap about what Adler's going to do. At all.
I mean, I love James Sprague. I love following him. I predicted him to win Wadapalooza, and John Young didn't. So But yeah, I mean, he's the fittest man on earth, and he's just a really good dude, and he's really genuine. And I mean, this is, every time James Sprague is on the screen, like all the comments are like, dude, enough with the Jesus talk, like blah, blah, blah. And like, honestly, I probably used to be somebody like that. I'm not religious, and I am still not religious, but I can respect James Sprague for that. Like he is, and it's something that he's really passionate, and he has a lot of faith in that. So he's going to be genuine and use his platform to talk about it. And I respect the fuck out of it. And I think it's cool. And every time he wins an event, he thanks God, gives whatever Bible verse he wants to give. And I think it's fucking cool. And I'm honestly not religious at all, but it doesn't bother me. And I think it's so lame when all the comments are like, oh, this guy can't fucking talk about anything except Jesus, blah, blah. It's like, who cares? Like he just at Rogue could barely do 2 wall-facing handstand push-ups. A couple months later, this dude's been working his ass off, and he gets second place, only loses to Austin Hatfield in a handstand push-up event. Like, who gives a fuck what he wants to say when he crosses the finish line?
So do you think that it's more detrimental to these athletes when they make it a job?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because
I think it's detrimental to their image, like trying to get fans, but also detrimental to themselves. I mean, I can't imagine walking to the gym every day thinking it's a job and knowing, hey, this workout that I have programmed for me, like, God, it would be so much more fun if it was with a sandbag instead of a barbell. But it's my job. I'm not allowed to change it. Like even little shit like that, like having fun with it, you just get way more intensity, and intensity drives results. So and you hear it a lot recently. How many athletes recently have been like, oh yeah, I just decided to take a step back from the volume and just do stuff I want to do. And then they place like 10 spots higher at the games.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a big thing. And do you also feel like that it loses, I mean, all of us, if not close to 100% of us that get into CrossFit, we love it because of the roots of CrossFit, the community, everybody and anybody can come into the gym. It doesn't matter what background, where you work, who you are, whatever. Like it's just, we all get to sweat together. We all go home and we go do our thing. Yeah. But then some of these athletes come through the tunnel like that, where it's like they go to the community, the affiliates, they're part of the community, and then they decide to get, either they're really good after a couple years and then decide to make the run for it. But then they get there and then it's like, well, it can only be a job. Do you feel like that they're kind of taking, I guess, a tip from like Matt Frazier, for instance, because once he won, he made it strictly just a job. Do you feel like that they're kind of doing that and then losing the essence of what CrossFit really is?
Yeah. I mean, obviously I'm not a games athlete, so anyone, who wants to get butthurt about what I say, this is just my perspective as like a fan. But it seems like, you can dedicate yourself 100% to something and still have fun with it. I mean, you need to be obsessed with it to be at the to like compete at the highest level and be that good. But it's crazy to me, like knowing that some of these athletes, which I only found this out somewhat recently, listening to like an athlete interview that Sevon did, but some of these athletes have never even been in like a CrossFit gym. Like they only train with the other elites because they did the Open one year and made a semifinal, and then they realized they were good at it, and someone told them they should come train at whatever camp, and they've only ever trained in a camp that's not even an affiliate with a bunch of other games athletes or semifinal athletes, and like and really don't even know what CrossFit is, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
And it seems like it wouldn't be sustainable, but I don't know. Matt Frazier did it for 5 years in a row. And, but again, as much as he wants to say and act like it was like a full-time job, and I 100% believe that's how he thought about it, but I don't believe for a second that he didn't love it. I'm sure that there was grueling days where he did not want to be in the gym for a second, weeks even, maybe even a month at a time. But he had to have fallen in love with it to dedicate that much time to it. It's not just because he was so good at it. I won't believe that for a second. And, you know, and I don't know if he's ever said that he never loved it, but even, you know, right before he announced his retirement, those few 23 episodes he did on Josh, Matt, Sevon and stuff, you can tell when he talks about it, like he thinks like a lot of us, like he thinks a lot of it is cool, and he probably did a lot of cool workouts, and I think he just had to really love it to do what he was doing. Mm-hmm. Obviously there's a point where it's going to feel like a job and days where it's going to feel like a job, but you can't dedicate that much of your life to it without loving it.
All right, here, Julian, timestamp for the Dougie is 1935.
Thank you.
By the way, Bryson looks like Benson Boone.
I haven't seen this person, but Maris told me that a bunch of her friends told her that I look like that person as well. So, I
want to get out of this and ask you some like funny man questions. Oh, do you have it? Because it's amazing. If it's oh, you found Benson Boone.
I can see it.
You have a better mustache though.
Oh yeah.
Gus, I see you. I'm going to get to your question in a second, but I want to wrap this part up, and then we'll go into some fun man questions. But I feel like with everything that happened politically this year, that CrossFit kind of adopted it, right? If you think one way politically, you're on this side of CrossFit. If you think another way politically, you're on this side of CrossFit. And I feel, as I'm seeing these athletes come out that say that they're not going to do the games, that there's a correlation between what their politics are. And it's like, you have to agree with me completely all the way, or we can't even talk about it. And
yeah. I mean, I think you could, anyone who's out of the Open didn't vote for Trump. I mean, I think that's pretty 100%. Or if they're not an American, then they wouldn't have voted for Trump. But
I just,
it's
so funny to me because I have so many friends that I don't agree with politically all the way. Like, we agree on certain things, but not everything. We're fine. There's no problem. You can still talk. It's not, I feel like when I hear people say like, hey, I'm not going to do it, but if you're going to do it, that's fine. You're judging. Like, if I do the Open, then you're going to judge me for doing the Open. That's what I hear.
Yeah. I mean, if you go on Instagram and say, hey, morally, someone said this on a show the other day. I don't want to say who I think it was in case they wouldn't want that attached to them, but I know I heard this on a show the other day. Someone in the group was saying, hey, you go on a show or on Instagram, you say, hey, it's morally, I can't do the Open because it's against my morals, all this stuff. And then, but, oh, it's okay if you do. Well, then it's like, okay, so I'm morally superior to you, but it's okay that you're not on the level that I am morally. Like, I'm just that much of a better person than you. It's okay. You do the Open since you're not a good person. So I think that is just stupid. I don't really understand the reasoning behind not doing the Open. There's a lot of things I don't agree with and a lot of decisions I don't agree with, but I can see the perspective that they're thinking from, even if I think it's a fucked up perspective. And it's like, you're not thinking about it correctly. I can at least get it or comprehend what they're thinking and seeing. I can't do that with not signing up for the Open.
Do you think it's actually better to, if you want something to change, to stay in the fight, I guess
100%.
Versus stepping back from it? So my question to everybody that's choosing to step away or whatever is, do you feel like that's actually going to make the changes that they're concerned about? Obviously, safety is a huge concern. We all saw what happened at the games, regardless of your own personal beliefs on what happened. Like, safety needs to be part of the conversation, no matter what. So why do you think that people are taking a step back versus staying in the fight and actually trying to make actual change?
That's what I mean. Like, when I can't comprehend it, because I don't see why dropping out of, or just announcing that you're not doing the Open would change anything. It's not going to change anything.
Right.
And they even have to know that especially some of the ones doing it and announcing it, that would be like me being like, guys, I'm not doing the Open anymore. I hate to break it to you. I'm not going to try to make it to the games this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, dude, no one cares. Like, just don't do it if you don't want to do it. But, yeah, it just doesn't really make any sense to me. I think I guess it's all because Dave didn't get fired, I think, is why these people are deciding to not do the Open. But I also don't know what Dave getting fired would do. This in a similar vein to you saying, how could you change it if you're not on the inside? Why would you want Dave out? If you think Dave had all this responsibility and it was his fault that Lazar drowned, then why the fuck would you want somebody else who has not learned from that experience in now? Because the only person who could fuck that up again is somebody who hasn't done it before.
Yeah.
Dave, I don't think that it was Dave's fault. I think all that stuff is stupid. But even if you thought that, why would you want someone besides Dave there who obviously like is extremely like mentally kind of fucked up from that? I mean, even on his week in review when he's like, yeah, I'm just not ready to do the Open announcements yet, because he feels the community, being divided over him. I'm sure he still is just working with that shit mentally. Like, I don't know. I don't think Dave getting fired is an answer at all.
So the same way that dude, I wasn't gonna do this, but fuck it. You think the same way that people had like Trump derangement syndrome, right? Like they feel like all like the whole world is gonna come crashing down if he's president, and they still do, and they're just doubling down on it. Do you think it's like Dave Castro derangement syndrome? Do you think that they just don't even care about what the safety issues are, but they just don't like Dave so much that it doesn't matter what CrossFit does? If Dave's still there, they're just gonna be up in arms the entire time.
Yeah. And I think it's the exact same type of people who don't think about anything for themselves. They just latch on to whatever is the thing that people are screaming from the rooftops. Oh, Dave killed Lazar. And then everyone's like, yeah, Dave needs to be out. Fire Dave. And there's always going to be stupid fucking people who say shit like that and latch on to whatever it is, whether it's in politics, CrossFit, if it's in your office, whatever. There's going to be stupid people who latch on to that. But that's why it was so fucked up for the PFAA to release those statements, the demands. Yeah, sorry, that's the word I was looking for. To release those demands, because you have people like Brent Fikowski, who he's a smart fucking dude. Like, he should not be one of the people who latches onto that, and in this case starts it, because he's smart enough to know there's fucking stupid people who won't think about it for 2 seconds. And even if Brent had problems with Dave and he thought something was Dave's fault, then he doesn't need to make a PFA statement demanding him to be fired. Like, I just think that was incredibly fucked up because of knowing that they're stupid people and knowing Brent's not one of them.
Yeah, this whole thing is crazy. I'm kind of watching everything about it, and I just saw, Chandler's out, and like, of course he's out. Of course he's out, because
he was the first I'm out person in the Greg thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Of course he's out.
One of the first, if not.
And the thing that baffles me is, like, you're not even willing to talk about it. You're not even willing to just like sit down and have a conversation with people. Like, you're not even trying. I want to know why he's upset. Like, why are you so upset? Why were you so upset with the Greg Glassman thing? You never told us.
Right.
Like, they never gave us a reason for that. It was just like,
do they have to though?
I'm out. They don't have to, but I mean, it would help as far as communication and coming to an understanding.
Yeah.
They definitely don't have to, but there's a threshold that you cross to when you have to. And it's when you make a fucking post on Instagram with a bunch of statements like, oh, I don't feel like morally, like I can't do the open morally because it just goes against everything I am as a human being, all this stuff. And I only read like the first 2 slides of Chandler's thing, and I just scrolled off it because it's like just 2020 all over again. So I didn't read all of it. I don't know what he said, but if you're going to say something, then you just got to say all of it, especially when you're in a public figure position like he is. Obviously CrossFit is such a bubble. No one in CrossFit is like famous, but
that's the thing.
I mean, but it's a big enough bubble where we all pay attention.
Yeah, everyone in the bubble knows everybody.
Yep.
I did say, but fuck it. Yeah, I did say that. But that turns us all off though, right? Like the minute that you, like my brain shuts off. The minute that I think that you're saying that you're morally superior to me and my brain just shuts off, and now I no longer care. Yeah. So now communication's not even possible because I don't want to listen to you anymore. Even if Chandler wants to say something and not say all of it, he has every right to do that. But that just goes back to like how this conversation started. That's more of the disconnect between the fans and the athletes, and why no one gives a fuck how Chandler Smith does at the games. Right. Yeah. No. The best one. Who was it? What was the barbell spin post? I'm sorry. I'm with Fuliano. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Caleb was like, "Who's nobody that? Cares."
A lot of the comments.
And so many comments that followed after that were so amazing.
Caleb was savage in those.
He was savage, and it was awesome. Comments. And I'm laughing.
I usually only catch Taylor comments like that, but I was like, "Ooh, Caleb."
Yeah, I saw his whole chain. I texted Caleb. I was like, "Dude, that was a masterclass." Because every time someone responded to him, he was just like, "Yeah, well, your mom didn't care when I was fucking her in the ass." I'm like, dude, that is perfect, man. That's how you deal with these people.
Listen, your mom jokes never go out of style. Yeah. Like they're always there.
But what I wanted to be 4 years ago, everything he said, I would have been absolutely fucking offended. Now I'm literally sitting in the deli laughing hysterically, and nobody knows why I'm laughing hysterically because I'm rolling through these like threads, and it's like it's just so much more chill. Like you're so much more relaxed. You're not pissed at everything all the time.
It's freedom, yeah.
And it's crazy what happened.
I mean, that's what me and Taylor were just talking about this the other day, but that's why as soon as I got into CrossFit, all I wanted to do was get other people into CrossFit and teach other people about it and start coaching and helping as many people with it as I could, because it was so freeing to me, realizing like, holy shit, I don't have to worry about getting sick. I don't have to worry about whatever fucking swine flu comes around. I don't have to worry about walking outside and not being able to pick something up that I need to, all that shit. Like it just opens up all the possibilities in your life to not have to worry about shit. And then you can actually do what you want to fucking do. And how freeing that was to me. I just wanted to give it to everybody that I could. And yeah, it's the same thing. Like not getting offended by people saying retard all the time is a lot less it's a lot less stressful of a life.
It's yeah, for real. Even hey, look, Jan sent me a giant dick in a group chat the other night. I laughed and was confused and had questions, so I asked a lot of questions. It's okay. Like, I'm fine with it. Thanks, Jan. Yes. There you are. Yep.
Yes. And she shared that with me, Jan. So
I did.
Thanks for that. I didn't need to see that. I did not need to see that. Were you ever sensitive like that? Were you ever that type of kid that like would get triggered by what people would say or anything like that?
No, not. I'm trying to think if there was any. I mean, there was points. There's like things in my childhood that I remember, like, oh, that really embarrassed me in a moment, but anything that I really cared about when I was a kid was embarrassing stuff, not like offended stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I've ever been like offended by someone calling me something. It was more like I was telling Maris the story last night. There was a trend when I was like in middle school that kids were dressing up really preppy, and it was every day. And I never wanted to get into it like that, but we would all go to this place for 4th of July. It was like Great Meadows. It was in Virginia, and it was like a polo field. So everyone would dress super preppy for that. So when I went into the mall and I bought this pair of Sperry's and these yellow dress shorts and a button-up shirt. And
only Heidi can trigger Bryson.
yeah, Heidi can get me pretty worked up.
And Mary says that you don't like to be wrong, so that's triggering.
Well, it's not that I don't like to be wrong; it's just that I'm not wrong ever. So that's the issue, is when people think that I am. That's when it becomes
actually
a problem.
Not.
But yeah, so I got this whole preppy outfit. I went home and I tried it on. Nothing fit, and I looked at myself and I was like, "Wow, I look so fucking stupid. I can't believe I wasted all this money on these clothes. I'm never wearing them." So I threw them in the closet. And then like months later, my parents were divorced and I was staying at my mom's house, and it was super late, and my mom lived like an hour away from my dad, and I had school the next day. And I forgot to bring clothes, and the only clothes I had in my closet was this stupid fucking Sperry's and like button-up shirt and like khaki shorts. And I'm like, fuck, I gotta wear this shit to school tomorrow. I'm like, you know what? How bad could it be? Like, if people make fun of me, people make fun of me. And the whole day, every single person, some people who didn't even know me said shit to me, and I was just like red, sweating the entire day. Like, it was one of the most embarrassing like memories from middle school. But that was the kind of shit that I would get not offended by what people would say, but like as soon as someone would be like, "Oh, nice fucking Sperry's, Bryson," I just start sweating and like try to think of something to say. But yeah.
Well, it was crazy because you went from being like the dude in Taylor's videos with the oversized shirt that you like everybody used to just pounce on you for. You went from that to actually being on the show and talking about programming and having opinions on the games and all. And how did you were so calm and confident about it? It was, and you're what, 23?
I just turned 25 in December.
Oh, okay. Well, still, whatever. Yeah. That's the same thing. Same shit.
Yeah.
You're so confident about your opinions, and what the fuck? Like, were you like a public speaker in high school? Were you a captain of a football team or some shit? Like, how did?
Quite the opposite, actually. I did not talk to really anybody in high school, except I had a group of 2 to 3 friends that, you know, through first grade through still now are really like my closest friends. And I did not socialize outside of that. I never went to like any parties or anything like that, and neither did my friends in high school at the time. So Maris is laughing because of how much of not a public speaker I am. But yeah, I mean, the transition to like moving to Charlotte, coaching at CrossFit Charlotte, working on Sentinel and all that stuff really felt like it happened really fast. I mean, just starting from the start, I guess, Maris and me lived in Georgia, and she graduated, and I was working at a gym in Georgia and just personal training and coaching classes. And then she was applying for jobs. She applied for a job in Charleston, and then the company was like, "Hey, we are starting a water resources team in Charlotte. Would you be interested in that position?" And I had done the Charlotte Classic 2 years in a row at this point. So I knew of Taylor, and I knew he was in Charlotte, and I watched the show. Obviously, I've been watching Sevon for a while. So I was like, okay, like Taylor kind of knows who I am. Like, we've DM'd a couple times on Instagram just because I did his competition. Maybe that would be a good in for me to like work at CrossFit Charlotte, because I was just planning to follow Maris wherever she went and figure it the fuck out when I got there.
So Maris introduced you to Taylor, not knowing that you and Taylor were going to fall in love. And how old were you when you met Taylor? Is this like a?
Yeah, he's actually been grooming me since I was 9. No, so I met Taylor when I was probably the first year I did the Charlotte Classic, I don't know, Travis is in the comments. He was the one who convinced me to do Charlotte Classic.
Oh, cool.
So that I was probably 21 or 22. But yeah, so I just knew of him a little bit, and like he had asked me about workouts a couple times in my stories, stuff like that. And then so when Maris got that offering in Charlotte, I was like, holy shit, this is perfect. Like I'm not starting from zero. Like I know a person's name and a gym that I could work at. So then Maris went up for an interview, and I messaged Taylor. I was like, hey, my girlfriend's doing an interview. She has to like stay the night there. Do you want to train? And so we did a couple workouts together and just trained together that day. Didn't really do much else, just kind of hung out. And then after we left, her interview went well. She like accepted her job. And then a little bit of time went by. She was in Charlotte like 3 months before I came up to follow her. And then I messaged Taylor. I was like, hey, does CrossFit Charlotte need coaches? And he was like, we kind of have a lot of coaches right now, but this is what I would make sure you have. And then you can email Andy and talk to him about that. And he helped me a lot with like what Andy would be interested in me saying, what isn't important. So then I reached out to Andy, came up and coached a couple classes. We had this whole thing. He was like, all right, you're going to watch 3 classes, shadow 3 classes, coach a segment in 3 classes, and then coach 3 classes while I watch you. And then you can start working. And so I watched Taylor coach class. I think I shadowed like one of his classes. And then I was supposed to shadow Andy. And he was like, oh, you just coach the class. I'll just watch you. And I was like, okay. So then I coached the class. And then afterwards he was like, yeah, that was great. You can start working here. And then, yeah, so I started coaching at Charlotte, and me and Taylor were training together every day, which that also at the time was, happened really fast. Like it was really surprising me. Like he just kept texting me every night. He was like, what are you doing tomorrow? And then, so I would send him my training for tomorrow. He would do it with me. And then it eventually just became, he would just text me like 10 a.m. And I was like, okay. So
you got him as fit as he is because he had to chase down times. He couldn't get beat by a young whippersnapper like you.
Right. That's definitely what happened. But yeah, so, and I wanted to train, like I loved training with him, and I liked hanging out with him, obviously. But I was really grateful that it happened so quickly and naturally. Like as soon as I was here and living here, he would just text me and we would train together every day. And then eventually he was like, hey, do you want to come over while I program for Self-Made? And I was like, sure. So I would just come over and kind of watch and like bounce, and he would bounce ideas off of me really at the beginning. For the most part, I was kind of too scared to give any of my ideas. And then it slowly developed into me giving more of my ideas. And then he was like, hey, I want to take on more individuals at Self-Made. Would you be interested in like basically having a couple individuals and I'll just oversee it and help you with that? And I was like, yeah. And then, so I started doing that, and we had been posting stuff on like Instagram stories, and I had a YouTube channel before I moved up here. I only had like 350 subscribers or whatever, but couple.
Yeah, that's nothing. We had that for like a year.
That's a big accomplishment.
That was a big accomplishment for us, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I loved it. I had a lot of fun making my YouTube channel and stuff like that, and I had some followers on Instagram from that, and a lot of them responded like, "Holy shit! Like you need to start up the YouTube channel with you and Taylor training together." So I ran the idea by Taylor. I was like, hey, we should just make these videos for Self-Made, like put it on the Self-Made YouTube channel. Cool. And because I had a camera already and shit. So then we started filming that, which was probably the next step that happened. So at this point I had individuals and I was making videos for Sentinel and still just giving my ideas with programming and stuff like that, but probably pretty minimal compared to like what I do now. And then I was reviewing notes for a while. Like there's probably 5,000 words a week of notes that we do. And, oh, sweet. I didn't know Kenneth knew my old YouTube channel. There's probably like 5,000 words of notes. Yeah, those shirts are so cool. And so I just reviewed them for a while. and I was terrible at it. So then Taylor stopped paying me to do that. I stopped doing that. And then I started writing part of the notes and just programming more for Sentinel. Taylor still writes 90% of them. I write the stuff that doesn't have as much like thinking involved. Like it's just like modifications and stuff like that. Whereas he writes all the intent and stimulus and explaining everything. I write strategy and approach, but that's really just like a smaller version of intent and stimulus, with a little bit more specifics on like how you should approach each movement maybe sometimes. But yeah, so pretty minimal compared to what Taylor writes. And so at this point, yeah, it's videos. I have some individuals. We kind of just combine all our individuals now, but there's ones that like I call weekly and there's ones he calls weekly. And then programming, we just try to do it together as much as possible. And then writing part of the notes is that's where it's all come to now. And then obviously like knowing Sevon and stuff like that.
So how does that come about? How does you at like 24, 25, how do you get to start jumping on podcasts with men that are all in their 30s plus category?
Hold on, this is a very important question.
Which part of it does Coach L write?
Yeah, so he does the thing where you drag your mouse across it and highlight everything and then hit Command C. And then you just go into the Brute app, right click, Command V. That's the Coach L trick.
Because now you're sitting on a podcast with dudes that are in completely different places in their life, right? They're married, they're buying houses, they have kids, they like, and now you have to have legit conversations and be confident in those conversations. And that was crazy to me. You just kind of jumped right in. I remember the first few that you did. I was like, oh, who is this? Who's this dude?
Yeah.
I thought you were the dude from CJ's podcast, Wad Prep.
Oh, yeah. So Travis is on the Wad Prep podcast.
Yeah, I totally thought, yeah, I did. I thought you were Gus. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, there's nothing that bothers me more when people are like, oh, like I'm very mature for my age. I hate that more than anything. But I have always had like older friends besides the core friend group that I already kind of mentioned that I had in high school. Like I worked at Costco for a few years and like all the old dudes were like the only people I talked to. Like, and so I've always kind of gotten along with people older than me and really not liked people that I went to high school with. But yeah, I don't know. It just kind of happened pretty naturally. Sevon was doing those news shows, like the 15-minute news shows when we were starting to make Sentinel videos, and he would pull it up and be like, who the fuck is this asshole? Like, like on the video with Taylor, like all we want to see is Taylor. And he would start making fun of us. And it was really good for us. I mean, it blew up our Sentinel videos. I thought it was hilarious. Sevon was being hilarious. But yeah, I don't know. It just all kind of happened naturally. One of the game's update shows, I guess no one was available, and Sevon like texts the group chat. He's like, wow, I'm really scraping the bottom of the fucking barrel right now, but Bryson, can you come on the show? And then I'm like, yes, Dad. So, yeah, and even
that's
like
how we respond to.
Oh yeah,
we respond.
I mean, like even last week, I coached the morning. I usually coach the morning class on Tuesday, so I have to get up at 4:30 for that. And his shows, the game's update shows, are already late, and then it's even later here because I'm in Eastern. And so I'm like on this show till 11 p.m. and I got to get up at 4:30. And but of course, as soon as he asked me, and I know all this already, as soon as he asked me, I'm like, yeah, okay.
Absolutely. There's no second thought at all.
Yeah.
Old guys like to hit on Bryson and moms.
Mostly moms.
Gus, that was not an attack at all. That's super cool. Married and buying a house at 24. Shit. You're doing way better than I ever did. Judy, didn't Bryson test some open workouts last year for Sevy's show? That was the first time I heard of him.
Yes, that was after those news shows that I was talking about that Sevon did, but it was before I went on any of like the podcasts. I did the open workouts like 10 minutes after they came out. Like they announced the workout, the games athletes did it on site, and then we went live and I just did it.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, it was really fun, especially because like 25% made quarters. So the open really didn't matter, which sucks. And is part of the reason I like the season format more this year. I mean, I top 1% now is the online semifinals. I've been in the top 1%. I wasn't last year. I was just out of it, like only in the top 2%. Partially because I did all the shows live on Sevon's like right after it got announced. So Eddie, chill, bro. But yeah, so that was before I started going on the shows or anything like that. And that was really fun. I really enjoyed doing that, but I will probably not be doing that this year because I'm not somebody who can just walk into the top 1%. I'll have to actually like think about the workouts for 24 hours to do that.
Is that the goal for you to get to the games?
Well, I want to make a like the online semifinals this year, just because I've been a lot less fit and been in that top 1%. So I know that I should be able to, but anything beyond that right now is pretty unrealistic for me. But I enjoy, doing the season every year.
I did get a question in the DMs. Are you actually Taylor's understudy? Are you going to be like when he steps back from Taylor versus the World? Are you Kill Taylor? Are you the is it tap for Bryson?
I don't know if I am not very specialist. Like I'm just kind of average at everything. So I don't know if I'm the type of athlete who would do well on a Kill Taylor style format. The only trick I would have in the book is triple unders. I'm the best person at triple unders I've ever met or seen. But I wouldn't want to do that every week. So I don't think I'd be a very good Kill Taylor kind of guy. But yeah, Taylor has said to me before, like, when I'm competing, he's really helpful with a lot of that. Like he'll help me through my warm-ups, and if he can, he'll come with me. And he came with me to Louisiana for a competition I did there a while ago, and really helps with just like breaking everything down, like post thoughts, and just like, yeah, this is what went wrong, and this is probably why it went wrong, so this is what we should do. And it's all stuff that we both know and are aware of, but it's good to just like talk about it back and forth and like hold me accountable for a plan, and stuff like that. And he'll just, and yeah, like after Louisiana, it was a competition called Wad Gods. And he was like, dude, how cool would it be if like in a couple years, like you made a semifinal and all this stuff. Well, I'm going to let Opie out of this.
Yeah, I was going to say, let this dog out. Like this dog's trying to go. And the dog is as big as Bryson. Jesus Christ.
I know that is a big dog.
A big ass dog.
Oh yeah. Well, Opie, it was a little one. He's like a little Papillon, but I guess Maris is home and she just got him.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Wait, there was a little one?
There was a little one. Yeah. Maris, can you bring Opie in here?
Didn't he? All I saw was the big ass dog. I was like,
yeah.
that dog's bigger than Bryson.
Come here, buddy. Come here.
He's like, nah. Oh, there you go. You want to be on screen?
Say hi, buddy.
Oh my God.
Barry, what's up, dude?
So when, my God, no, I did not even see that dog. Oh my gosh, so cute.
This was Opie.
Look at those ears.
That's definitely who was yapping.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, he was the yapping one.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, you would never yap.
Yeah, you can take it.
So when Taylor was competing at Crash, are you there as like his coach?
Yeah, I mean, technically, yeah, but it's really just, again, it's kind of same thing as at Wad Gods. Like we're both saying stuff that we both already know, but it's just good to have that other person there who knows what it's like to compete. Even obviously he knows what it's like at a way higher level. but also, and knows like what the other person needs to be thinking about. So like at something like Crash, you know, after a bad workout or whatever, everyone knows it's not worth thinking about it for more than 2 minutes, but it's way harder to do than it sounds like on paper. So that's the kind of thing, like I'll just talk through strategies with Taylor, let him bounce ideas off me. Same thing at WOD Gods. Like we're just talking about, you know, I'm bad at this part of the workout, but I'm good here. So maybe I push here, let up a little bit here, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, just stuff like that.
Let's get this in real quick for Pool Boy. What's up, dude? Why didn't Bryson do the NorCal workouts?
So I did do the NorCal workouts, and I actually was going to take this conversation there anyway, because this is also something that Taylor has helped me with a lot. Like, I did the NorCal workouts. I was very like just bummed out about every single one as soon as I finished. A lot of stuff that I don't feel very good at right now that I'm working on, and it was kind of unlucky, which is just part of the game, part of competing. And it really bummed me the fuck out when I was done. Like I didn't post any of my scores because I knew they were all shitty, and I was really upset about it. And Taylor could tell that. I didn't talk to him. I didn't bring it to him because I was like embarrassed about it. I didn't want to talk about it. And he texted me after one of them. He was like, "Hey, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, I'm fine. What the fuck are you asking me for?" And he's like, "Well, you just got out of here really quick. Like, what's wrong?" And I just didn't answer. And then like an hour later, he's like, "Hey, why didn't you answer my fucking question?" And then I was like, "Dude, it's just like crybaby shit. Like, I don't even want to talk about it." And then he called me, and we basically talked about it for a while. And he's like, "Dude, all these games athletes who like," because I was basically saying, "Dude, I care about this so much, and I care about how I do, and it really upsets me when I care so much and I'm not even that fit to care the way that I care about it." And this is kind of where he'll like bring me back to, you know, why we're doing this. And, you know, I really appreciate it. He's like, "Dude, all these fucking games athletes who act like they don't care about it and they're just blessed with these crazy fucking genetics, that's fucking stupid. That shit sucks. Like, that's lame. It's not lame to care no matter where you're at. Like, you would never tell somebody in your class who is trying to get into the top 50% of the open that it's stupid to care about that, or stupid to be upset when you miss it by 1%. Like, so that was really, I really needed to hear that. And I've thought about that a lot. And that's one of those things, you know it, but it's a lot harder to like really think about that and trust it when you're the one dealing with it. And I think I was getting to, it was like, it's like sort of like just filling up. Like every time I had done like a competition recently, like it didn't go the way I planned, and it just, that feeling like kept like welling up. And then NorCal, I was like, fuck this. Like, I just want to do CrossFit to be healthy. I don't even want to compete anymore. I don't want people to ask me how I did on a workout. I don't want to fucking, you know, post the workouts I do, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Fuck that, dude. Like, you care about this, and it's fucking cool to care about it." And yeah, I mean, and I do think it's cool to care about it. And I'm not that fit, but that's okay. And I'm still going to try to be fitter. Like, that's all part of it.
So what I've learned from this right now is that men can have emotions, but can only talk about them with other men. Like, we cannot be there for you guys. We have no idea.
There's a select few.
How to be there for you guys.
There's a select few like guys that you can talk about it. Like my best friend Cameron, I could talk to him about stuff like that. I could talk to Taylor about stuff like that because, you know, we haven't known each other super long in the grand scheme of things, but we got close very quickly, and I would consider him one of my best friends. And in that specific situation too, I know he can relate to it. Like, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. And then I would say my dad as well. I could talk to my dad about anything like that. Me and my dad are really close. And yeah, and I can, talk to Maris about stuff like that, and she's
I was going to ask you
helped
how...
me realize that having emotions aren't a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I would say the last, like, today is actually our 3-year anniversary, so I would say the last year I've been a lot better at that. Maybe she would disagree, but
Oh, I was gonna ask you, is it yours and hers or yours and Taylor's 3-year anniversary? Well, congratulations.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome. So when you guys
well, I was gonna
go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, so when I want to go back to the podcast thing, when you got on the podcast, I'm okay. We can talk about CrossFit later on, but I want to know, you get on the podcast for the first time or the first couple times, and they were pretty high pressure situations. I feel like there was events happening or coming up, stuff like that.
Yeah,
there was a lot of viewers on those shows.
I mean, I think one of the first times I might have been on a Kill Taylor. Like, Taylor was in Italy and using his phone, so I didn't need to be camera guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And someone was gone, and Sevan was like, "Bryson, you should be on the panel." And like we talked about earlier, I was like, "Yeah, of course, no problem." And in my head, I'm like, "Holy shit, I better be funny."
Yeah.
Like, but I just try to not force anything, and just like be normal. Like, I know all these guys, and even obviously I know Taylor more than anybody else, but I know that Taylor likes these guys and I like Taylor a lot. So like, I can just be normal. And if that doesn't work out, then I'm the least funny person on the show, and that's fine. Like, it's not the end of the world. But
your bar was, you needed to be funny.
That's what Kill Taylor is. I was like, holy shit. Like,
oh, be witty.
Oh, that's
be
even
quick.
Holy, nope.
That's a lot of, that's a lot of pressure to.
Oh, he's going to try to do it. I don't know if this is all right. I'll try to bring you on, bro. You know, talk man to man.
Oh, the phone.
Yeah. It didn't ring in the headset, so I don't know if you are never in a spot where the connection's good, dude. Ever. Like, just never. What's up, dude? You there?
Yeah, I want to talk man to man with Bryson.
All right, man to man. Let's go.
Serious talk.
Okay.
All right, Bryson, listen, man. I'm 45 years old. You're a young guy. You're handsome. You got a beautiful wife. You got nice dogs. Looks like a nice house. Whatever. Dude, it's okay to have nothing wrong with you. You realize that, right? There's a lot of guys out there. You know what I mean? Dude, you have life by the balls. You don't look like you're sick. You don't look like you hurt people. It's okay to be awesome. It's okay to be like, have nothing wrong with you. And if you don't, just say it, man. Just say it. If you don't have anything wrong with you, it's a great thing. So, Bryson, listen, keep it up. I love the mustache, and you know, it seems like you got everything going on for you. So, I just want to give you encouragement.
I appreciate it. I really appreciate that.
Love you.
Noodles,
Bye,
bro.
guys.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, shit. Dude, it's funny. Fuck.
I will say, to his point, I really, the past, since moving to Charlotte, especially, I actually do. I wake up every day so excited to get to do what I get to do every day. And I really love it. And I can't believe it. And not even like, and I genuinely don't take it for granted. I think about it every day, like, holy fuck, like, this is really cool. Even when I'm really tired and I have to go like coach the 7 p.m. class, I'm like, all these people are fucking awesome. And I get to help them achieve the best hour that they're going to get in their whole entire day. And I just, I really, really love every single day. And it's an awesome feeling. And I work very hard to not take it for granted.
That's awesome.
Did you ever think that this would have been the trajectory of your CrossFit career? I guess you could say when you first started, like, did you always know you wanted to be a coach? Did you always know that you wanted to be in an affiliate and helping other people? Or was it more like your own personal love for CrossFit was like the focus?
No, I knew I always wanted to help. I knew I always wanted to coach. I knew I wanted to run an affiliate one day. I was just on the phone with Taylor earlier. I was telling him, like, when I first started this and I got really into it, I had this every single day. I'd be like, how fucking cool would it be? Like, I just have this space, like 10 by 10, fucking basically a garage, concrete floor, one dumbbell, and I could run the best fucking like 4-person classes and have these people do a different fucking workout every day with basically no equipment that they would not even ever think that is possible to do with no equipment. And that kind of shit always like excited me so much. So I always knew I wanted to coach. I always knew I wanted to like give this to as many people as possible because of how much it helped me. And I also knew that I cared about it way too much from the start. As soon as I watched Josh Bridges win Murph, and I was like, man, this is what I'm going to do. I don't know in what capacity, but this is what I'm going to do. And I knew I cared about it too much from the start to not have it become something. So after that, there was a lot of things and like a lot of decisions I made that seem like risks, but I knew that, like, hey, something's going to work out. I don't know what it is, but I care too much about this and I'm going to work too hard at it for something to not happen. Yeah. So I was working at Costco and just fucking like doing stupid CrossFit workouts behind my house every day, behind my dad's house. I could live with my parents and I didn't go to college or anything. I'm just working at Costco, and I am doing that for like 3 years. And the only really trajectory that I had before I found CrossFit was I was going to join the Army, and that's why I started doing CrossFit. And I called my dad one day, and this is after I'd been doing CrossFit for a while. And I was like, hey, like, I think I want to go part-time at Costco and like kind of focus more on making my YouTube channel and making like CrossFit videos. And my dad was like, my dad started crying. He was like, that's fucking awesome. Like, do it. Like all in, like whatever you want to do. And I started crying too. I was like, man, I fucking love you, Dad. Like, and that
You're
was
such a good son. Like that.
and you know that, and he just supported me so much and stuff like that. And so I did that, started working on my YouTube channel more. And my dad is a great dad. And I started working on my YouTube channel more. And then eventually I was at this gym near my house because it was getting way too cold to just work out behind my house in the winter. So I joined this gym, and I couldn't really like afford to pay the membership. So I was just going to stay there for like 3 months, in the coldest 3 months of the year, and then leave. And then they were like, hey, if you want to coach a couple classes a week, you can basically have a free membership. Yep. So I started doing that on my days off from Costco. And then eventually like told my dad, like, hey, like, I think I could have like personal training clients here, coach a lot of classes. And I think I could quit Costco and really lean into this. And obviously it's not like Costco where, hey, it doesn't matter where you need to move to, there's a Costco. You can work your way up and become a manager and then like a department manager, all this stuff. So there's no really progression from just coaching at a gym. But of course my dad like fully supported me and knew like, hey, he knew I cared about it too much for something to not come out of it. So then I'm working at this gym. That's where I met Maris, and then fell in love with Maris. And then she eventually moves to Charlotte. I follow her, do all this, and
fall in love with Taylor.
Yeah, exactly.
Did he cry again, Jake? See, this is the dynamic. Jan, that's a great dad. Jake, is your dad gay? Like, that is literally their dynamic.
The dynamic
like
of
that's
the
the two of them.
Of the two of them, yeah.
Let me recognize the great and mighty Trish. Does he have future plans for the mustache?
No, but I do. A lot of people were asking earlier if I had a mustache before I knew Taylor. I had a mustache way before I knew Taylor.
You had a mullet too, didn't you?
I had, really fucking Joe Dirt mullet.
Joe Dirt.
Is Taylor ever jealous that you have hair and he doesn't?
No, but Taylor, I'm jealous that Taylor can pull off no hair. It's actually the other way around, because having a shaved head is really nice. Like I've shaved my head like multiple times in my life and it feels really good. But especially being on camera as much as I am, like I like to think I look good and like feel good. And people like sometimes don't want to admit that. 'Cause it's like, oh, we're CrossFitters, we don't care about what we look like. But it's cool to feel like you look good. What I don't care about, and I don't think people should care about, is like someone else's perception of like what it is. Like people are always like, I mean, I don't own like a comb, and sometimes me and Maris have gotten fights about that.
A comb.
and so that kind of thing, that kind of thing can cause issues sometimes if you let it, but it also doesn't bother me that people think I look like I always just woke up. I think that I look good when I have like a certain hair length and a mustache, and like I've been, sticking to zone pretty well and working out consistently. Like I like to feel like I look good.
Yeah, dude.
And I wish I could look good with a shaved head.
Yeah, it's a lot easiasier.
Yeah, it's so much
well,
easier.
you wouldn't fight over a comb and you wouldn't need a comb, so it would be fine.
Exactly.
No hair.
Then you never have to fix your hair or have Maris get upset when we were supposed to go somewhere nice for dinner and I'm wearing jeans and Vans and a Sentinel t-shirt.
What? You don't do that? That's all we go out in. We
us.
Literally, and not even jeans, like literally probably some sweatpants from somewhere.
We have nice sweatpants.
Yeah.
You have nice sweatpants.
My Born Primitive ones are like kind of like, okay, you can go somewhere okay in those.
Yeah.
And then I have 2 pairs of jeans. One don't fit because I had them like way before I ever started working out. So now they just look like skinny jeans and it looks terrible. And then finally me and Maris went and got a newer pair of jeans that fit me a little bit better.
She bought you jeans. She made you pick your
jeans.
jeans.
My sugar mommy.
That's right.
Comb. That's what fingers are for. Fair.
Exactly.
That's what I do. That's what I do. His nice summer outfit.
I do have Born Primitive jorts and they're really comfy.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you?
So
yes, Vindicate. I have to get my Sentinel tee since I am now a Sentinel athlete.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
She's in it to win it.
Yeah.
You should have seen her the day after like the first week of workouts from Sentinel. It was just like,
I'm sure he did see it because I tagged them all in the stories. I'm sure he
fucked up for like a while.
I'm sure he did.
Well, that goes back to like what we were talking about in the beginning, like workouts that look cool and look appealing just crush you because it's like, wow, this is really fucking cool. And then you want to go hard and you want to do it.
It was like a box. What was it? It was like the 2 week. Oh my God. Is it 2 weeks already?
Yeah.
2 weeks that I've been doing it. So it was last week. It was like my very first one. It was like a box jump something or whatever. And I was like, wow, this is pretty aggressive for my first CrossFit workout back.
Yeah. I mean, it's what was I going to say? Yeah. Like you can get just as much intensity on a 20-minute bike test, like 20 minutes, max calories on a bike, max wattage on a bike. You can get just as much intensity physically, but no one's going to compared to like, hey, 2 minutes on, 1 minute off, 30 cal row, max cal ski, like, and you just like absolutely just pin it every round because it's like, oh, I want to get more calories than this guy next to me on every single interval. And it's like, oh, if I go hard enough, I could make this like 1-to-1. Like if I can get 30 cals done in a minute, then like I can get 30 cals on the next machine. And it's just stuff like that. I just think is really, really important to CrossFit in general and what is missing from a lot of CrossFit programs.
Yeah. And I really like the way that you guys break down the strength because I was doing just basic strength training probably for like 12 weeks or whatever, which was just simple, slow, whatever. But the one, I think it was a squat snatch or whatever with like double unders. It was like do 20 double unders and then get into your snatch, and build up that way or whatever. And it's cool because it does put into perspective what could potentially come up in a workout too, where it's like, you're not just, like today was deadlift. So you had 3 minutes of, this rep, I was thinking like 4 reps at a certain weight and then you moved up and whatever. That's just strictly weightlifting. But it's not just do 1 rep at this weight it's like do 4 reps at this weight, then go up a little bit, then go back down, then go back up. Like it's really cool the way you guys like break up the weightlifting part of it.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people who can write a really cool CrossFit workout. We obviously think that we write the coolest ones, but I think the thing we're probably most like proud of on Sentinel, I mean, Taylor can correct me, but I would think that how we do strength training is really the most unique part of it and what makes it most true to the methodology. Like, yes, a lot of people can write really cool CrossFit Metcons. I don't think it's that hard to write cool workouts, and it gets a little bit harder to put them all together in a week and make it flow properly. That's where like people start to separate themselves a little bit. But even then, like, it's like, hey, if we were pushing and pulling this day, maybe we should squat or something this day, like whatever it is. But I think the strength work, keeping it extremely varied while also having a bit of progression, but not doing it for so long that people get really burnt out on it, I think is the biggest separator. And, what we know makes Sentinel the most unique and the most fun to do.
Trish, are you spreading fake news right now? Did CompTrain de-affiliate? I have no idea. I haven't seen shit.
I haven't heard about that.
Unless it's on Spin. I don't know. I have no idea.
Josh Gamblin, the comment that you pulled up, proud of you, dude. He's my coach, and he owns the first CrossFit gym I ever went to.
Oh shit.
Oh, cool.
So what's up, Josh? Just wanted to point that out.
Okay, so when you do this, right, you said Costco, you said go to a gym, then you start do you see yourself becoming like a regular on a podcast roundtable, like
with this group?
Yeah.
I really always liked Sevon's podcast. And I watched it a lot. And I think the first times that I thought of that was probably when I moved here and started training with Taylor. Maris would always be like, what if one day, like, you're on the show? Like, we'd be watching the show at dinner or something. She's like, what if one day you're on the show? Like, what if one day you're like in their group chat, like all this stuff? And I was just like, like, I'm just doing workouts with Taylor right now. Like,
yeah,
that's not going to happen. But like, maybe I'll get to meet Sevon one day. He seems pretty cool. And yeah, stuff just slowly, like, one at a time. I would say the biggest sort of like breakthrough in terms of getting to know everyone else besides just Taylor was probably Wadapalooza. Not this most recent one, obviously, but the one before that was still Miami, so not SoCal either. We went there as Sentinel basically and held classes at a couple different spots. Like, we held one at the venue, we held one at CrossFit Wynwood, and that was, I met Peter. I think maybe I had met JR before that at Crash or something, but maybe that was also the first time I met JR. I met Spin, Tyler. We were staying in a house with Tyler and just some other guys, and everyone was there all the time, like
the house
while we were there. Yeah. And yeah, they're just all really, really good dudes. And so it wasn't like nothing felt out of place. Like, it felt like I was just hanging out with buddies because they're just really good dudes like that. And I felt like I was kind of tagging along a little bit, but all that was internal. It wasn't like they were making me feel like that.
Yeah.
I was like, God, what if these guys just think I'm just like Taylor's fucking butt buddy that's following me around? Like,
God forbid everybody thinks that.
yeah.
Well,
So
okay.
no, I just want to finish. I just want to finish with one train of thought. So you're on there for a while. Now you start becoming almost like a regular on a panel. You start yelling, screaming. Now you kind of sound like, now everybody's like, oh, baby Taylor. So
yeah. That's really surprising to me. I guess I get it watching the shows back, or like just thinking back of like the argument that I had or whatever. I get why people would think that. Part of the similarities me and Taylor have is why we get along so well, but also we argue, like, we do not agree about everything. Like, so it's surprising when everyone's like, oh, this guy's just fucking Taylor, when every time me and Taylor hang out. Like there's a always in good fun screaming match. You know.
Oh,
It's
so you
not-
guys are like John and Tyler.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably not that much. We agree on there's always just one thing, and I really like to argue, so I probably
I was
like-
going to say, so who wins the argument? You?
Yeah.
We know you like to argue, dude. We saw you arguing a lot.
Yeah, well, it's obviously I always win the argument. But there's like if this is like the extremes and this is Taylor's side and this is my side that I'm taking, I probably am more like right here, but just because I know Taylor's over here, I'll really play this side to it just so I could, because it's so like, wow, it's just really addicting to argue with people like about stuff like that. Like just where you can get them so worked up.
So
Then it's perfect that you have found your place on a podcast
That
with
Where it's
enjoys
just
that.
arguing.
enjoys having some opinions and you know.
and also the mighty chat also enjoys a good
Oh,
back
yeah.
and forth. So
Yeah.
and you're telling me you just like once somebody kind of starts the argument with you, do you get like more aggressive with the arguing just because you
I will always dig my heels in. There's been, I will give this to Taylor because he's probably freaking out right now, screaming at his TV. But there has been a couple times where like I'll realize Taylor is right.
Damn.
But when I do that, like I'll just admit it, and then Taylor gets really butthurt that he can't like get me worked up the way that I can get him worked up. But he knows he's wrong.
Oh, you want to go? We can go into this for a little bit. Bryson loves arguing with Heidi. Do you love arguing with her? Or was it just that one day? Was it just
no? She's always had a problem with me, and I've always had a problem with her.
Oh.
The only time that I've not had a problem with Heidi or have like sided with her on anything is when like people in the chat will start saying just like kind of like gross stuff to her.
Mm.
Like I was
Yeah.
like I'm on
Yeah.
Heidi's side on this one, but
Yeah.
but I like to argue with Heidi because she just seems like sort of like millennial mindset that is like kind of cringy.
So you're Gen Z, right?
I don't even know what I am. I was born in 1999, but like December.
Yeah, you're Gen Z.
Heidi seems like the kind of person who has like signs in her kitchen that's like jokes about how she don't talk to her until I have my morning wine and like stuff like that, like those kind of like signs like
those.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, like that kind of
yeah.
vibe, which I think is fun to make fun of people like that. But
yeah, you guys got into it. I get it. What if they would have come to you, like the ones that were like, hey, that wasn't a great joke, if they'd have come to you and been like kind of not like jumped on you, but just kind of explained why they thought it wasn't. I'm trying to tie this back to the beginning of the show.
Okay. So yeah. So during when Haley Adams sang the national anthem, I made a joke. I was like, this should be a Heat 1 prop bet. Like, does Haley Adams?
No, don't say it.
Okay.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
But so I made the joke, and then everyone was like freaking out. There was a lot of people who thought it was really funny, and I got so many DMs that were like, all these people in the chat are fucking pussies, bro. So yeah, I just think anyone who was thinking that you can't joke about something like that, it's like, okay, so there's a line then to you. Like there's some things that are serious enough for you to not joke about. So that means that if you ever joke about something, you think it's on the other side of what's too serious. So you don't think it's that serious, is what I was trying to articulate to people. I was like, everything is on limits, because if something is off limits, that means that everything you do joke about, you actually don't give a fuck about.
Right. I get that. I can see where you're. This one too. I looked at it while it was happening, like live while it was happening. People totally buy her online persona. It's hilarious. So then there's that too, right? Everybody kind of in the chat, it's not really who they are outside of the chat. just like some of the personas that are on podcasts, like aren't that persona is kind of not what they bring when they just walk out into real life and go to work.
Yeah. And yeah, like Trisha's comment, it's not that it was off limits, it just wasn't funny, which was also my point. If it's not funny, it's not funny. Like, that's cool. Like, some people did think it was funny. I don't expect everyone to think every time I'm trying to be funny. I don't think everyone is going to think it's funny. That's not the point of making jokes. Like, there's no one in my generation, at least, or like the sort of people that I hang out with, thinks that it's not like a serious thing. And I've had people close to me who have done things like that. So it's not like it's something that you don't care about, but it's just that you joke about things that are serious. That's what makes jokes funny, because it's like, holy shit, like that's kind of like, that's kind of real shit. And that's what makes it like uncomfortable and kind of funny. And that's the kind of humor that, you know, a lot of us, or a lot of my friends have, is like, and
like, comedy is subjective, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a big fan, Corey Leonard knows this. I'm a big fan of Andrew Schultz. I'm not necessarily a fan of his stand-up. Like, it's all right.
Yeah.
But on his podcast, I think he's funny. Like,
that's how I feel about Theo Von. I feel like Theo Von is really funny on podcasts, but his stand-up to me is just not funny at all.
Right. It's just kind of, so comedians can get a pass for shit like this, but if you're not a comedian, we've all kind of agreed that you don't get a pass, which I think is unfair. Like, if you're trying in the spirit of just whatever, then if you want to throw a joke out there and see if it sticks to the wall, go for it. But if it doesn't stick to the wall, then it doesn't stick to the wall. Like, yeah,
like, I don't think Theo Von is funny in his stand-up, but that doesn't mean that it's not like that it shouldn't be said. Like, some people did think it was funny, and that's fine. And even if no one thought it was funny, but Theo Von thought it was funny enough to make a joke at his stand-up, then it's funny. Then it's worth making. But I just think trying to say something is off limits is just complete bullshit to me.
Well, no, I get that. This is a good point too for what we were talking about. My pool boy, my best friend, committed suicide back in 2018. If I never made a suicide joke after that fact, he'd be very disappointed in me. And I get that. And because it's his own personal experience, but for someone else, like, if I had that happen to me, I probably wouldn't make jokes about it, just because, but that's just difference in it's not, doesn't mean you can't do it, or pool boy can't do it, or that's just the way life is. People their life experience comes into play all the time. And it just, I was like, when I saw it, I was like, ooh, Bryson, I wonder what you're going to get right now, bro. But I wasn't mad at you. Like,
already going hard. I had a couple in a row that was already getting people like worked up. And like you also mentioned earlier, like, the comments are fucking like heated sometimes.
Yeah.
And like, when you're just in the comments, like, one just firing off one after another, and everyone's like, you know, you're starting to like push it more and more. The same people think it's funny, but then some other people are coming out of the woodwork like, hey dude, like, watch it, that's kind of fucked up. And then you just keep going. Like, I was just feeding into that.
Yeah. I like I said, when I saw it, I was like, oh, but I'm not mad at you for it. Like, to get there, Trish is like, what did you say up here somewhere? Just jokes. Like, people have to be able to joke, and people joke differently. And yeah, Trish, you should see the chats. Like, the chats, look at all the people that sometimes take the chat seriously and sometimes don't. I no longer take the chat seriously unless they really want to say like, hey, I'm serious about this. But most of the time I'm like, oh, they're just fucking with each other. And I don't take it seriously, like, at all. Whereas when I used to read the chat, I'd be like, oh shit, they're beefing. And then I'm like, no, they're not beefing. They're just, they're just having fun with each other. So
yeah, well, it's also like, when you're doing like a show and it's entertainment, every time I'm on a show, especially like on Sevon's podcast, all the comments are like, why the fuck is Bryson here? Get Bryson the fuck off this show. Like, everyone hates it, but everyone's commenting. So I'm going to keep coming on the show because people are commenting and watching.
That's I can't ever tell. I realize like I can't tell. So I can't, like, I originally thought Pat Lang hated me, and maybe he did hate me, but now he doesn't. Like, I can't tell, but I don't think he does. So like, it's, you know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
know. I just take it for what it is, and I think half of the shit I think is hilarious, and I just
I take the comments like show by show or day by day. So like if I went on Savon's show tomorrow and I said something and Heidi in the comments was like, "Oh yeah, 100% agree with that, Bryson." I would just be like, "Okay, like me and Heidi are friends today, like no problem."
yeah.
But it just usually the first Heidi comment is not that, so it usually goes in the other direction. But I just think it's fun to like have each show be like a fresh restart on whose side you're picking.
I think it's cool too. I really do. The
Mhm.
dynamic is super fun. Yeah.
Because everybody comes back.
I think
It's
Pat's
not
cool
like
too.
people don't come back. Like everybody comes back into the chat to have opinions about the show or opinions about the last show, or they just have conversations with each other. It's like a hangout for everybody, you know?
I have to ask
Yeah.
this. He's been waiting for a long time. Augustus Link. Okay, seriously, do Taylor and Bryson have a safe word for your workouts? I'm assuming it's for your workouts.
I'm not.
for programming, probably.
There you go. Yeah.
Me and Taylor's safe word is Vermont.
Okay.
You guys can do with that information what you will.
That's,
That was good.
that was good. Vindicate, what's up, dude? The only time I can tell when someone is serious when it's a generic profile photo and they've never commented. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
And this is a good point, like to this whole topic. A lot of those people came from when we were at the games doing Shut Up and Scribble live after event 1.
Yeah.
And we basically had to shut it down because people were starting to realize, like, holy shit, like Lazar drowned.
Mhm.
And then
Oh, yeah, I
we were the
remember that.
only other people. We were the first people and the only people to go live after everyone knew what happened.
Yeah.
And everyone was still waiting, like, what the fuck's going on? Because people didn't know, like, if you weren't at the games, one, you didn't know what was going on. But even if you were and it like fucked you up in the head, like, holy shit, I can't believe I'm here at this event. And like, I was standing next to the lake and I was watching these people swim and I didn't fucking know that someone was drowning. Like, if like, why would it be a bad thing to have people go live and just be genuine and talk about what's going on? And that's what we did. And so many of those people Vindicate's talking about, like the generic profile pictures that fucking hate Sevon, we picked up during that time because it was just, I mean, the shows had so many viewers and half of them were just people who had never watched the show before and like, why the fuck are you guys streaming right now? This is so fucked up. And it's like, hey, dude, it's the same thing with the fucking joke thing. If you think that if you don't want to listen to someone talk about what's going on right now and process like the emotion and stuff like that, yeah, KF is exactly who I was thinking of, Judy.
That's the one I saw.
Yeah.
I was literally like, dude, who are you and where the fuck did you come from?
If you don't want to listen to someone talk about it and you don't think that and you don't want to talk about it, don't fucking click on the show. But a lot of people want to, and a lot of people just want to fucking have a place to go and listen to something because they're not listening to fucking anything and they can't find anything to listen to and figure out what's going on, or like have somebody talk through their emotions that might help them figure out their own. So I just thought like those same, it's like the same kind of mindset, like, oh, fuck you, I can't believe you would do that, when the other half of the people are like, thank you guys for doing this. Like, thank God.
It was really cool that you guys did do that.
Well, that was like
KF
when...
comes straight from Reddit CrossFit.
Oh, yeah.
fair.
Well, when we because we had planned to do CJ's show before everything happened, and we were at a point where we weren't sure if we wanted to go on his show. Like, he still was gonna do the show, but we were like, I don't know, should we not? That whole feeling of like, you know what I mean? But we went on with him the day after, and the same thing. I mean, that chat was insane.
Yeah.
And the hate that he got, I mean, he handled it very well. I think we handled it very well.
Did a great
job. But
job.
the hate that he got in that chat was the same thing you're talking about. How the fuck could you do this? Da, 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 yelling at him. And he's like, that's not what I said. What I said was this. This is what I meant. You know what I mean? And so you experience a lot of it, especially around that.
That
but
kind
I think
of
you're right. People were kind of looking for answers, whether they were not like, nobody really had an answer, but people were still searching for some sort of answer.
yeah, we're just like something to like listen to and talk about.
Absolutely, we're
Like,
not talking about you, Heidi, I promise.
we were actually talking about how me and you could just be friends if
Forever.
if the
love each
first
other
thing you
forever.
comment isn't about how much I suck every show. But like, yeah, some people weren't even looking for like answers to like process something emotionally, but some people just wanted something to listen to and know what was going on. Like, and it's not wrong for someone who's just a fan and never met Lazar to not really care and just be confused why nothing's on. That's not a wrong thing to feel. Just like it's not wrong to have never met Lazar and be fucking crushed that happened. Like, everyone's going to think about it differently. So to say that, like, and it goes to the same thing with the fucking games. If you cancel the games, you rob everyone of the decision. If the games continue, then the people who want to fucking drop out can drop out, and the people who don't can go on. But if you cancel the games, you rob everyone of that autonomy and that decision. And that's the decision they need to make. Like, you can't just take that from everybody the same way that we're not going to take it from people who want something to listen to and want to listen to us, like, process what happened. We can give that to you. If you don't want to listen to it, don't listen to the fucking show. And yeah, it's the same. If you don't think a joke's funny, you don't have to fucking laugh at it. But
that's a crazy point too. Because everybody in some way, whatever side of the aisle that you're on, you're fighting for choice, right? You want and I'll take it to politics. Like, I want the choice if I don't want my kid to learn about pride shit in school, then I want the choice to not have to have that happen, or for you to like gender affirm my kid behind my back.
Right.
No, I want the choice. You pro-choice, pro-life. There's people pro-choice. Like, everybody's fighting for a choice, and they're all fighting for it on opposite sides.
Yeah.
With different, you know what I'm saying? Like, you want the choice for the games to go on, give people a choice to whether they want to do the games or not do the games. Like, that's all we're all fighting for, is just the choice. Like, it's crazy. Great. Wow, Dobby. So Bryson is pro-choice.
So can I talk about this, or do you not want me to talk about this?
No, go for it.
So I am pro-choice. The choice of being able to have sex or not have sex. And hey, if you decide to have sex, having a fucking kid is part of that risk. Like, it is what it is. That's part of the decision that you're making. Obviously, there's really fucked up shit that happens in the world, and that's not always the case. Mm-hmm. But you can't rob that fucking kid of the decision if he wants to live or she wants to live as, you know, a person who maybe grows up a little bit poor, or maybe is in a fucking foster home, or whatever it is. Yeah, at least they're fucking alive. Like, you can't rob someone of the decision to, like, oh, you know, I wouldn't want to grow up in a poor family with a single mom, so let's just fucking axe him. Like, that's not how it works. So I think you're robbing the fucking kid of the choice.
Of their choice.
Yeah.
Fair. That's fair. Does Bryson know any good abortion jokes? We're not doing that today.
Wrong show.
Wrong show. There's a morning show that will take care of all those needs for you.
That is tomorrow at 10 o'clock Eastern time. But I think it goes back to what you were saying. And I think one of the really good points that you made when it came to the games is that everybody was live. Everybody, whether, like, if you were not at the games, everybody could see what was going on at the games. And then literally within seconds, everything shut down.
Yeah.
Everything's shut down. And we're at home just looking for something. You know, I mean, we're refreshing Spin's Instagram, seeing what's happened. We're playing, you know, play-by-play from his Instagram, because we also at home had the same experience as some of the people that were standing there. You didn't see it. And we're watching it in live time, like in real time, and you don't see it happening. And then everything shuts down. So we're just looking for people that understand the love of CrossFit and the holy shit, what just happened. And so you're looking for some sort of light.
Yeah, and I think the weirdest part of all of it is that like everyone knew what happened. Like at least maybe not right away, but everyone knew what happened at a certain point. And it was still during that point, it was still fucked up to go live and talk about it. But it's like everyone knows what's going on right now. So why are we pretending that like why are we acting like we can't talk about it? If everyone knows about it. It's like there's so many things, like when you walk into like a fucking 5-star restaurant and it's like everyone's wearing a suit and tie and they're all fucking uncomfortable. It's like, if everyone here's thinking the same thing, why can't we just eat this 5-star food in our sweatpants? Like if everyone's thinking it, why is it so weird? And I really didn't understand that. I don't get why, like everyone knew Lazar drowned.
Well,
why are we not allowed to say that?
CrossFit left that live stream up for a while. If you were watching at all and you found out and you wanted to go back and look at it and find it, you could go back and find it. It wasn't like
and everybody clipped
and then
it.
everybody clipped it. So it wasn't like it wasn't out there. You couldn't you were just going to be able to forget about it and it wasn't there.
Yeah. And just to be clear, I just kind of thought about this. I was not referencing like when CrossFit and when Don and Dave were on the news and they had to say an athlete drowned. Obviously that was for legal reasons. Like the case hadn't even barely been open. Like they weren't allowed to say Lazarus' name. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people getting mad at us for fucking going live and talking about it. But yeah, I mean, that whole thing was just so crazy and so fucked up. And I think it's even more fucked up to not talk about it. And it would have been fucked up. And we decided like, hey, it's kind of fucked up if we don't go live just because this happened. Like we were going to be live anyway. Something really fucked up happened and we're all processing it right now. And people probably want to hear us process it and help them process it. So it's kind of fucked up if we don't.
Do you personally think that CrossFit HQ has talked about the situation enough as transparent as they promised that they would be?
I think
obviously there's legal, so they have to be careful with legal, but they did promise. And I think that that's a lot of the backlash that maybe some athletes are feeling right now, is that there is transparency. Do you believe that there has been transparency, just not publicly because of legal stuff?
Yeah, I think that the lack of, I mean, I don't even want to say lack of, I think that because there isn't as much transparency as some of these people want, I think all that is because of legal stuff. And I think they've shared plenty, and I don't think they need to share anything more with us, like just the random people. I think they're, making decisions and like, obviously that kind of, anyone who thinks that sort of thing would happen and there wouldn't be changes or talks about it every fucking year going forward is crazy. And I also think you're crazy. I already said this, but I also think you're crazy if you think firing Dave is the change. Like what if Dave gets fired? Oh, okay, cool. I'm in for the Open now. Everything's fixed. It's like, that didn't change shit. It probably made it worse. It would make it worse. So I think that's a stupid idea. And I think CrossFit has been plenty transparent. I think if there was a fuck up, it was, like you said, promising transparency, because it's a subjective thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter if they were more transparent than they have been. Someone would be mad about it not being enough, no matter how much it was.
Yeah, because I think it goes back to what you were saying. Whereas before, when everything happened, we were not allowed to talk about it. You can't talk about this. And I think that some of those same people now are saying, well, we need to talk about it. And we need to talk about it a lot. And you need to be transparent. So it is always that conflicting situation where, is enough ever going to be enough? Is there ever going to be enough conversation about it that is going to make people feel like that they're getting all the information or something? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And honestly, the weird thing is people talked about it more before it happened than after. How many times did you hear men will die for points, or like Someone's going to fucking die doing this shit. In every fucking games documentary.
Mhm.
We're testing for the fittest person on earth. And you've done it for 18 years and someone hasn't died yet. That's fucking crazy.
Mhm.
And yeah, you'd hear people talk about it all the time. Like, someone's going to die doing this. Men will die from points, all that shit over and over again, constantly. And now it's like, oh, nope, that was never a thing. Like, we can't talk about that. And I just think it's kind of a weird way to think about it.
I still think it's the same thing as TDS. I think it's the Dave Castro derangement syndrome. Like,
Yeah.
I really do. I don't even think they actually know what they want. I think there's too many events to know what you want. There's too many, like, you know what I mean? You can't list out, you would have to list something new out every year.
Yeah, that's a great point. And it is, it's like saying, hey, if Dave gets fired, it fixes all this. It's like, that clearly shows you do not know what you want. You just want something dramatic so that you can so you can put your finger on something that happened.
Yeah.
But you don't even know why that would fix it.
Right.
Oh, the athletes are scared of Dave because he said mountain lions were going to eat them.
The athletes are safe because Dave Castro isn't there. How does that make fucking sense? There's still water. There's still barbells. There's still sand. Like, that doesn't even make any. Sorry, I almost went on my rant. Not gonna rant, but
I mean, it's crazy that this is still a subject that I could go on a tangent on for 3 hours. Like, and people just don't get it. And, you know, maybe I'm also fucking dumb for thinking that talking about it is going to convince anyone, but
no, I still think we have to. I do.
Yeah.
Because if nothing else, if someone like wants to come and say, no, you guys are fucking idiots, then at least we can talk about it some more. You know what I mean? It's just a way to talk about it more. Fine, I'm an idiot. Tell me how I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
It's cool. I'm open to it.
But I also think that it's the passion of the true CrossFit believers. And there is this idea that if the conversation continues to go this way, that CrossFit will not survive. And all of us that love CrossFit want to see CrossFit survive because we understand how many lives it actually changes, the day-to-day lives. But you also can't deny that a lot of us really found our love for the sport of CrossFit as fans. And so if you are going after that and destroying that, and your favorite athletes are saying that this is unsafe, you shouldn't do this, that will trickle down to the affiliates. That will trickle down to the misconception of the methodology, because a lot of people don't go into a CrossFit gym because they've seen how extreme it is and how crazy it is and whatever. So of course, the most passionate of the passionate are going to be like, are we going to talk about it as a whole? Do we have to separate them, the methodology from the sport? You know what I mean? To save the methodology, to save the affiliates? Or are we going to let the sport, the downfall of the sport, potentially, it's almost like a snowball, like take out the affiliates on the way down?
And I think this is, you know, the reason that even becomes a problem is because the people who think logically about it and think, hey, this is my decision, so I'm going to keep it to myself and I'm going to do what I decide to do, don't broadcast it to the public, because that's the logical thing to do. So then, like what you're saying, like the loudest voices are the ones who are thinking illogically and telling the public, hey, CrossFit is dangerous, and because of Dave Castro, and if he doesn't get fired, I'm not doing it. Whereas, like, not one fucking athlete who continued to compete at the games made a post about how you were wrong if you dropped out. But every fucking athlete who made a post about dropping out the post was, and yeah, I don't know if there was one that was straight up like, hey, if you competed, you hated Lazar. Like, no one said that verbatim, but every single post was just virtue signaling, like, hey, I'm doing this because it's morally correct. So if you're not doing this, you're morally incorrect.
Yeah.
And not one person who continued posted about how people who didn't continue were wrong. Every single person who continued, even really didn't even, I mean, make a post about it to the level that people who dropped out did. But anyone who did make a post about continuing, if they mentioned the people who dropped out, it was like, I 100% get why you do that. Like it's fucking hard to compete after something like that. And, you know, I almost did too.
So
what
know. You're saying
Damn.
is that there's a difference between talking about it and what? Because it kind of sounds like that there's a clash in what you're saying. So you're saying it's important to talk about it, but the ones that were making the posts weren't talking
I'm saying,
about it?
I'm saying that it becomes a problem because the people who are thinking like we're thinking right now typically don't talk about it. It's like the same way, like someone who, you know, like
this one, I guess this is more of my question. Hi, Summer. Thank you for this question. Should an athlete even address why they dropped out? Do they owe it to the fans? I think that's more of what my question is. Like, do you feel like that athletes should have the voice to reach their audience? Or do you think that how they did it was more detrimental than?
I think it's completely up to the athlete if they want to do that. I don't think they owe it to anybody. I think if you drop out and you don't want to say anything, that's completely fine. But if you drop out and you're like, hey, you know, what happened was just too messed up and I can't stand for it. It's like, okay, well, tell us what happened.
Right.
Like you're not telling me. You're just making it seem like everyone who didn't drop out is a fucking asshole.
Yeah, as a shitbag.
So the statement of this is how I feel, or I'm not going to judge anybody that chooses to stay.
It's condescending.
But I'm going to tell you why I didn't stay, which completely goes against me being able to support someone that chose to stay.
Yeah, if you like half tell people that it's like, oh, I dropped out because what was going on was so fucked up. It's like, okay, well, what was going on? What was fucked up?
This is also the point too, Vindicate makes the silent majority, like the people that are staying in to do the open aren't doing themselves any favors by not pumping up the open, by not being like, I'm in the open because this is the community that I fell in love with. This is what, like, they're not saying that. It's just the people that are dropping out being like
that are the loudest.
I'm leaving because my moral values are better than your moral values. And
so even to me, when I know that, it seems like every fucking games athlete and their mom is dropping out of the open because they don't agree with what decisions CrossFit has made recently. But it's only because those are the only people talking.
Yeah.
Like the people who are doing the open aren't saying anything because it's like, yeah, why would I say anything? Like, of course I'm going to do the open.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. There's only a couple that have actually said that they're going to do the open.
And even then it's not like,
and even then it's not like, hey, I'm doing the open because I stand with CrossFit. It's just like a post like, hey, sign up for the open.
Yeah. Like we're doing
there was a couple that I did see that did do that. They were like, I'm in the open, this is why, and like gave a whole thing.
Yeah, maybe I might have seen one as well. But yeah, it's those people aren't as vocal typically. So it seems like all the talk in the space is about how bad CrossFit is and how you shouldn't sign up for the open. But it's just because every single one of those people fucking talks about it. Whereas even though there's more people who are doing the open and stand with CrossFit, it's like, yeah, why would I talk about it? Of course I stand with CrossFit. Like, I don't need to project that to the world. Like, it's my decision. If someone doesn't want to stand with CrossFit, that's fine. They can do that.
It was like all of the last like 4 years, it was just like, no matter what you said, you were racist or misogynistic or whatever. Even if you asked a question, you didn't even have to make a statement. You just had to ask a question. You got thrown into all these ridiculous categories.
Yep.
And it's the same type of tactics. It's like, oh, you could do it, but if you do it, I see you and I know that your morals suck. And now you make people feel like shit. And it's just terrible.
Yeah.
So people aren't going to say it. Like, people aren't going to speak up for the open because they don't want the backlash of being like, well, you just don't understand. You don't know what minorities go through.
Yeah. Blah, I mean, if you post about signing up for the open, I guarantee you, especially if it's like an athlete with a lot of followers, I guarantee you can find a comment of like, oh, so you think that Dave killing Lazar was fine? like shit like that.
Yeah. Oh my God, guys. All right. Look, he's trying to last the longest right now. Summer
2.5 hours.
Yeah, I know. We
Sevon's
can't
2.5
do that. My kid,
hours.
I feel like they dropped out because of their mental capacity to process it and compete at the same time, not because they boycott.
Some people probably did, and
Yeah.
that's completely fine.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's 100% were people who did that.
Yeah.
And you know what? Those people probably didn't fucking post about how what was going on was so fucked up. They probably were just like, hey, I just don't have the mental capacity to do this right now.
I think so too.
And those posts don't get talked about either, because it's like, why would they? That's completely fine. And if that's your reason and you want to tell people that, go for it. But if your reason is because you're boycotting the games, then tell us the whole fucking thing or shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, going back to Buddha's comment, after watching the game, got up, joined an affiliate, doing first open. Congrats. That's awesome. Do you feel like that it's more important, I probably already know the answer to this, but it's more important to do the work on the ground with the affiliates versus just posting something on social media to really to really rebuild the community, because this situation really has divided the community.
Yeah, like you're saying, like if you were like a popular athlete,
maybe I'm not posting about it because I actually think it's more important to do the work behind the scenes if they're part of an affiliate. I mean, you guys talk about that all the time. Like athletes that are actually parts of an affiliate know, like, a back to the roots in the community and whatever. Like I would imagine like you and Taylor at Charlotte doing all that to get people into the open. Like you guys do the work there on the ground to build a bigger community to go back to the roots of CrossFit.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you're an athlete like that, fucking do it with the class. Go first and then judge somebody after and post a fucking video of it. You can do both.
Yeah.
That can be your I'm in for the open post. You doing the open workout first, so you don't have to like, get tired or mistime your carbs or whatever stupid fucking shit you want to do before you do it. And you get to do it when you want to do it. Do it before anyone else does it. As soon as you finish, rolling around on the ground and stuff, then David or whatever in the 5:30 class comes up right after you grab your clipboard and you judge him while you're still out of breath. Like, just like anybody else would in their affiliate. Like you can 100% do that, and you can post a video about it. And then, you get all your engagement or whatever you want to get on Instagram.
Yeah.
Vindicate. Yeah. He came in real quick. He's been doing great. We're about to wrap it up right now, dude. You've been awesome, bro. Thank you so much for this.
Wait,
this has been really fun.
So like maybe you and Taylor can come to Chief Nation and be my judge, because I'm doing the open this year.
Yeah, I mean, that would be really fun. We'll definitely make a trip up there at some point.
Yeah. You guys definitely should. So
yeah, she's gonna get her butt kicked. I'm gonna film it.
Yes. I'm gonna do it with Jethro over at Chief Nation. So
are you guys going to the games since you're so close?
Yeah.
You going?
I'm so pumped.
Yeah, we'll I mean,
be there in some capacity.
Sure we'll
yeah.
Are you gonna do shut up and scribble and shit up there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the venue is like in terms of like if we would do that on site or what. They've done some on-site stuff at Wadapalooza, and then at the games last year we just did shut up and scribble from the house. But yeah, whatever it turns into, I'm sure it'll be fun.
Maybe next year, Bernie, celebrity judges. Maybe next year
that'd be fun.
I can get my wife to go travel to a CrossFit affiliate for the open, so that I can do the open in a different affiliate. Maybe we'll go down to Crash or Charlotte, or I don't think I'll ever get her to go to California to Inferno, but
I am only driving. Have you seen the news? I'm not getting on a plane again till like 2030.
I mean, and going to a different affiliate for the open is fun too. Like that's cool. Like even if you are one of these athletes who doesn't train in an affiliate, go find one. How sick would that be if you're just fucking showing up for Friday Night Lights and your favorite CrossFit Games athlete just walks into the affiliate, is like, hey, can I pay a drop in?
Yeah, right. That'd be cool. Until Rogue. Yeah, right. Good luck, Jan.
Jan is still trying to get her.
You
to
better
go to
come
Rogue.
out. You better come over here first. That's what I'm saying. Also, I'm not sleeping in a tent. I changed my mind. Not going into a tent.
Well, last question, I guess, before we wrap this up. I always ask I've just joined Sentinel for the last couple weeks or whatever, and you guys are very thorough. Like the explanation, the run through, what the intensity, all that type of stuff. And I've also sent videos to Taylor to look at, critique my lifts and everything like that. You guys give so much, but you don't charge that much.
Yeah.
Why is it important for you guys to keep the price so low and then also give so much to, I mean, I just started and you guys have a lot of athletes and I feel like you guys give the same to everybody on Sentinel. And then I know you said you had a couple personal trainers or personal clients that you guys work specifically with, but like, why is it so important for you guys to keep the price so low and give as much as you give? Because normally personal training, individual training like that, you could charge a lot of money for that and make a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably two main reasons that pop into my head right away. But if anyone's listening who doesn't do Sentinel, you just DM us Instagram videos of you lifting for technique review. You can ask us just even questions just on in the chat and Fitter. But people usually send the videos over Instagram just because it works a little bit better.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, there's like 5,000 words per week of notes just talking about every single workout, every single piece. And it's $20 a month. And we think that it's really fucking cool to have the best program out there because we know it is, and have it be one of the cheapest.
This is today's, or is it? This is today's. This is what I did today. All of this.
Yeah. And then if you click on that.
And then more, there's still more.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
That's all the information that you get. It's
so that's
insane.
just today for that track.
Yeah. And it's like that every day.
Yeah. I also provide mental health counseling. But so, yeah, and we think it's really cool because we know it's the best program. We know it's one of the cheapest. I think there's maybe another one that's the same, but you don't get near like even half as much, like not even close to half as much. And so offering the best thing for the least amount is really cool. And I would say the second thing is like, because of how we both got so into the freedom CrossFit gives you and giving that to as many people as possible, and how similar like we both felt about that. Because obviously Taylor had self-made before I knew him, and it was still $20 a month before I knew him. And so you still got all that. But even before, I knew what that was, when I started pursuing coaching, like all I wanted to do was give that to as many people as I possibly could. And, just always trying to do the right thing and not trying to take a bigger piece of the pie, which like all of that comes from my dad. Like just knowing, hey, if I do the right thing all the time, it maybe won't be immediate. Sometimes it'll fuck me over, but at the end of the day, really good things are going to come out of that, whether it's having the right like relationships with people, or just like knowing people. But yeah, we just both really want to do what we know is right. And what we know is right is getting CrossFit to as many people as possible. And yeah, we'd fucking love to do it for free, but then we wouldn't be able to keep doing it.
Well, yeah, of course.
For sure. Yeah.
So,
I mean, but $20 a month is pretty close.
It's basically free, and it's enough that, hey, we can keep doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You do mental health counseling, sign me up. You are a funny chick. You are funny. I saw that last joke at the top a little while ago. I didn't pull it up, but it was fucking funny. I laughed a little bit.
You're cool.
Today. Today, right?
Yeah, just wait till there's something else for us to argue about. But I appreciate the comments and giving me something to talk about when I'm on shows, Heidi.
Well, I hope everybody has a fantastic Valentine's Day. Make sure you do Sentinel first before you go out and get up. Take your lady out. I hope you guys have fun. You don't celebrate Valentine's Day. I just hope you have a good fucking day. Enjoy it. It's your day. Thanks for hanging out with us. Maris, thank you.
Thank you.
Love you, because I know it's hard.
Maris, do you want to come on and tell us all the secrets about Bryson? Let's do that.
Oh, yeah. Maybe not. I don't know.
Bryson actually pays me to be an agitator.
Oh, that's what it is.
Gigs up.
That's
That's what it
fire.
is,
That's
yeah.
fire. Yeah, guys, thanks a lot. We love it. We got Jethro on Saturday. Talk about CrossFit Chief Nation, the Open, and then all the shitty
And how
crap
I'm gonna
in New York.
die.
Yeah.
During the Open. Yeah.
And then we're gonna check in with Pool Boys chick, Julia.
Yeah.
She's coming on. She just went to Wadapalooza and Fitness.
If you haven't
the
seen her
coast, so-
story, go watch her story.
She's
She is in her military gear,
Yeah.
put on a belt, and lifted 365, I think she said, in front of a bunch of guys.
Yeah, it was fire.
Like, and she was like laughing. She was like, it was only 365. I was like, girl, half that room can't lift up that
Yeah,
much.
that's
like,
savage as fuck.
that's
That's sick.
That's insane.
it was cool.
Jan, you guys are coming on soon, right?
You guys always come.
Pause.
Never mind. That's it. That's the end of the show. We'll see y'all.
That's the tape.
Okay.
Deuces. Jesus Christ.